I was asked to talk about mental health and stress. And I believe you all know that we are living in an era, in a part of time that has so many stresses. So bear up with me. My name is Mufeed Hamdi. I'm a consultant psychiatrist at Sulaiman Habib Hospital. And I have a PhD in psychology with special interest in mental health and stress. So I hope that you will find it interesting. So we will talk about mental health. These are the main parts of my talk. And I hope you will bear up with me because there are so many slides. I tried to make it easy. So we will talk about mental health. What's mental health? And then what are the current and contemporary life stresses we are passing through? Then we'll go briefly on what are the effects of stress in our mental health. And what are the tips that I can give you to promote your mental health and applies to me, to everyone in the world. And if you can see this slogan, it's the slogan of the World Health Organization that was released since 2015 and mentioning that there is no health without mental health. Because we always think about our body health, our diet, our whatever, but we forget about our mental health. Okay, so let's move. What's health? We have to agree about what's health and then what's mental health, then we proceed. As per the World Health Organization, health is not just having no disease. It has a nice definition that's a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. So we need to have these three parts all integrated. In psychology, we add another item. We say physical, psychological, social, and spiritual well-being. Okay, what about mental health? What's mental health? Mental health simply is defined that it's a state of well-being. When we say, usually at work, in your neighborhood, you can tell that there is someone who looks more mentally healthy, more stable than others. So by definition, it's a state of well-being characterized by a number of simple criteria, by definition, that individual realizes his own abilities and potentials. Second, he has the ability to cope with the daily life stress. You know, we are all exposed to daily life stresses, simple things, promotion, demotion, increment, decrement, reducing your salary. You move from one city to another, you change your job, you graduate from university, or you graduate from high school and you join a university in a different city. You move from one country to another. You get married. A wife or a lady get pregnant or give birth. These are all normal daily life stresses. So somebody with mental health, he can cope with these normal daily life stresses. Another point is that he's productive. He can work in a productive way and fruitful way. And he is able and is contributing to his community. He feels his positive contribution. Hello? Okay. The last point that with these, you have to have some feeling of content or satisfaction. So this is as a definition of mental health. Someone would ask, so what are the criteria? Now you have just mentioned the definition. How can I tell that I have good mental health? Then we move to the criteria of mental health. These are criteria of mental health, generally agreed upon. So many points, I will go through each one of them briefly. First is reality perception. Reality perception that the individual, he understands, he acknowledges, and he appraises his reactions, his capabilities, and he interprets what's going on around him in the right way. He does not misperceive others' acts or says, this is against me, this doesn't like me, this whatever. And they know their potentials, so they don't overestimate and go through risky endeavors, or they don't underestimate themselves and they get stuck and don't do anything positive. Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam يقول رحم الله امرئ عرف قدر نفسه. This is the point. Okay. Second point is positive self-esteem and self-acceptance. We have to have a healthy individual, we have to have a positive evaluation of himself, of his past. And he has to understand his own worth. And he feels that he's accepted by others and he accepts himself. These are things we need to work on so that we can achieve this mental health status. Okay, George is trying to help me. Thank you so much. Then we have the, does it help? I have to move these so I can, yes. Then we have the personal growth. We have to be always in a process of learning. All the time we are learning. So we acquire new skills, we acquire new knowledge, and it all helps us to feel that we are on the right path. Then we need to feel that there is an aim and meaning of this life. We have an aim of our creation, of our existence, of our being, and we have well-set objectives. Somebody would say that these are ideal criteria. This is not ideal, but they are in a spectrum. Somebody can achieve 10% in one criteria, 30% in the other, 90% in the other. The higher the score in each, then the better the state of mental health that you have. Then we have the ability to establish positive relationship with others. We have to have. We are social creatures. We have to close and satisfying relationships. We have to be sensitive to others' feelings and other needs. We are not supposed to be demanding all the time, excessive just to gratify our own needs. This is not healthy at all. And we have to believe in the process of give and take, because this is what we need. We need to give and take all the times. A healthy individual, he should have voluntary control over his behavior. We have to be aware of our behavior and we can control it. Sometimes we might behave in a more or less impulsive manner, but more important that we can control our behaviors, especially aggression and sexual tendencies. When you get angry with someone, you cannot lose your control and you start attacking somebody just because he harassed you in the street and you had a road traffic accident. And you cannot disinhibit yourself sexually and you go and hug and kiss every beautiful girl you pass by. So these are primal criteria. Independence, we have to be personally determined and we have to work spontaneously, independently. We don't need someone to push us so you can do what's needed from us. Productivity, we all have abilities, we all have potentials. So a healthy individual, he can change these abilities into productive activity. And he is enthusiastic about his work and life. Another criterion is resilience. Resilience is a term that's borrowed from physics. You know the spring in physics, when you press it, it will get back to its normal shape. This is resilience. So a healthy individual, he has the ability to get back to his normal level of functioning after exposure to stressful life events. Then we have a balance. Mental health is balance between your needs and the demands on you from the environment. So you need to make a balance between how much you give to work and how much you give to your family, how much you give to work, how much you give for leisure activities, how much exercise you do and how much rest you get, how much social interaction you would do. And we need to be flexible in our minds, so we have flexible expectations, we can manage with the different adversities of life, and at the same time, emotionally we are flexible, so we experience a wide range of emotions and we allow healthy expression of these emotions. We have to be able to enjoy our life. We need to live here and now. Enjoy the moment. You are with your friend, enjoy the moment. You are with your family, you are doing your job and you are successful. Enjoy the moment. And learn from the past, yes. Plan the future accordingly, but don't dwell, don't keep working on or thinking of things that you cannot change and you cannot predict. So this is a simple definition of mental health, state of well-being with the balance, and there are certain criteria. Then what are the life stresses that we are passing by? There are so many stresses we are passing by. But first we have to define stress. What's stress? We use the word in a wrong way. People use the word stress always in a negative way. Stress can be positive and can be negative. But generally, as a definition, it's a state that we feel of. with psychological and physiological elements in response to certain events or demands that happen in our environment that just upset or stir our personal balance. As I've mentioned, getting married is a stress because your life will be changed. It doesn't mean something bad. When you graduate, it's stress. When you move to another city, it's stress. So the events that are happening to us, better to call them stresses. And the state that happened to us, better to call it stress. And we don't react to stress the same way, all of us. Why? Because we are different. And according to so many factors, the response to stressful events depend. One of them is the nature of stress. If you change your job, the stress is different from losing your job. If you lose your job, God forbid, it's different. If you are married, if you are not married, if you have children, you don't have children, you have children at university and you sponsor them wherever. And what's your perception of stress? We perceive stress differently. When we are exposed to stressful life events, some people are too sensitive and they perceive it in a very dramatic way. This is their build-up. Some others, they just perceive it in a positive way or in a more resilient way. قدر الله وما شاء فعل. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل. These are all ways of perceiving stress. And how much tolerance do you have? We are all born and built in our genetic build-up. How much stress we can tolerate, and then we start to suffer. What is mental health? And what are the criteria? And now we are talking about what's stress and what are the factors that decide our response to stress. Okay. And here we have to differentiate between two terms, pressure and stress. Pressure is the positive stress. You have some pressures, you to do your work right, to care for your child, to look after your wife, to look after your parents. This creates a buzz, make you motivated. While stress happens when this pressure becomes more than the amount that we can benefit. So a reasonable limited amount of stress is beneficial because it helps us to cope, to be motivated, and to do things in the right way. That's why we say there is a positive stress, we call it eustress, and there is a negative stress with this distress. And there is a very thin line between them. And it's everybody's responsibility to know himself well and to understand when he is getting this stress to a limit that it might change to a negative one if it exceeded. Then he has to take the measures to protect himself. What about the life we are living in? Yes, we very well know that the life we are living in is full of stresses. It has been all over history, but currently life is less secure than before. The pace is fast, it's getting more complex, so many demands, conflicts, stresses. The work has so many challenges, new technologies, working from home, doing wherever, new softwares installed every day and you have to get used to it. Social and emotional distancing, we are no more being together all the times. And there are health concerns, almost always there are new diseases starting from bird flu, wherever, and now we are living in the era of COVID-19. And of course there are the financial crisis that has started since 2008, recovered for a couple of years, and we are back to it. So the major sources of stress for our mental health are four main: family, health, work, and finance. And any one of them can be the main and the others will be less important. And everyone has some of these to different degrees. I will give one slide about COVID-19. Now we are in the era of COVID-19. And this period started since January up to now. It has been, the changes have been threatening our state of mental health all over the world. And there are three main factors for this stress. First, the fear that we have. Second, the insecurity. And third, the isolation. Fear, we are all afraid of catching the infection, or if a family member or a loved one will catch the infection, or if one catch the infection, he would survive this lethal illness. And this is normal. This is normal fear, normal response. Feeling insecure, finance, job, food, and so many people lost their jobs, so many people were, salaries were reduced, wherever you feel less secure in the future, the company might downsize, and you all believe, I'm sure better than me, that for the last 2 years, all companies are using two slogans: cost cutting and downsizing and budget customization. So these are rational fears that we have. And the third point for this COVID, that some people, we were all locked down, quarantine, isolation, and these all exert certain threats to our state of mental well-being. Yes. It's okay now? Okay. So what are we supposed to do? Yes, this is COVID era. There are simple tips, just one slide. You have to be accurate with the information. You get it from reliable sources. And you have to comply with the instructions. Care for yourself, care for others, social distancing, masks, whatever. I'm not wearing the mask just to give you the presentation. You have to take care of yourself, diet, sleep, exercise, good hobbies. You have to reach out for others and participate in altruistic activities, social programs, wherever. And if you are in isolation or in quarantine or something, try to do portion control. Do not eat too much. Do not smoke or drink too much. Do not listen to news too much. Do not use social media too much, because these are all harmful. Okay, what are the effects of stresses on our mental health? There are many effects. It can affect us physically, mentally, and affect our functioning. Mentally, name it. When you are stressed, you can be anxious, restless, short-tempered, get angry easily. Then your friend will say, I did not say anything that bad. So you can burst with that. Sleep disturbance, we get poor appetite, difficulty concentrating. We'll feel frustrated, helpless. Our personal health deteriorate, and for people who use substances, smoke, alcohol, whatever, they will overuse it. And we are liable to get psychiatric disorders, anxiety, adjustment, or depression. It may affect our body. We'll have fatigue, pains and aches, headaches, palpitation, indigestion, sexual dysfunction. And if it continues this stress and we are not dealing with it, we might end up with diseases: high blood pressure, irritable bowel, asthma, allergies, diabetes, chronic headache. So if we have more stress and we are not dealing with it, and we don't have enough social and emotional support, this will threaten our mental health, and we might end up by being sick. So what are the tips I can give you to promote your mental health? These are 10 tips. We'll talk briefly about each of which. First, you have to build confidence as positive self-esteem. You have to know yourself, identify your abilities. What are your weak points? Al-Kamal Lillah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everybody has weak points. So we have to accept ourselves the way we are. We have to build on them. We have to strengthen our strengths, and we have to get over our weaknesses and do our best to get the best out of us. We have to keep fit, do exercise, eat healthy diet. This will help to reduce stress and to enjoy life. There is what we call exercise therapy for stress. You can just do exercise regularly every day, 30 to 60 minutes, and should be cardio. Brisk walking, jogging, running, swimming, cycling. This will reduce stress and give you a better mental health. Then you have to establish good relationship with family members and your family, your parenting. Give them time, make special time for them, and you just know them well. This lockdown, so many people, they reflected and said, at last we sat together and we knew each other well. Listen to them rather than give them instructions and orders. Know about them, their abilities, their skills, their concerns, and you have to give them and support them. Friendship is very important. You have to keep good friends, friends who count, who can listen to you when you are down, who have shoulders to cry on, and try to establish new friends, because this is a very important facet in our life to keep our state of mental well-being. You have to manage your budget, and you have to know your priorities. You know, marketing, advertisement, they try to make us buy as much as we can. When you go to the mall, I believe it happened to every one of you. It happened to me always. You go to the market, to Carrefour or wherever, to buy 5 or 6 items, and you end up by a trolley full of so many things. This is the marketing. They display things in a way that make you tempted to buy. And even the music, they use in the background, it stimulates the brain to decrease dopamine, which make us more willing to spend money. So you need to decide, what do you need and what do you want? Because the more important is what we need, not what we want. And make your budget realistic. Start getting your needs. If you have extra money, you can go with the most important thing that you want. And you want, exactly. Be proactive. Do volunteer work. Do altruistic work. Simple things you might do. You might go to the old people house and you just sit with them. You might help somebody to read something to you. You might help. You might go to an orphanage and sit with the children, tell them a story. Wherever, any simple thing you can do, it gives you a positive energy. You have to work on, learn how to manage your stress well. Stress is part of our life. We have to live with it. And we have to work on it in a positive way. We need to manage our time and keep a balance between work, family, exercise, leisure. Pre-planning is very important. You have to stay calm, because getting angry and anxious and agitated or restless doesn't sort out anything. And if you feel stressed, take a break. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it will help. Share your concerns with others, especially those who have similar experience. It will help to make you feel not lonely and at the same time to find the solution. We need to identify and realize our emotions. It's normal that we may get sad or angry or fearful or happy or at some times. We need to express them in the right way, identify them, but express them in the right way. If you are angry, do exercise rather than shout to your wife or to your colleague or to your subordinate staff or whatever. If you feel joyful, share it with friends. If you feel sad, share it with a close friend so you can debrief and get it out. You have to learn to be in peace with yourself. Everybody has to know what are the things that bring him joy and he can use when he is stressed. Maybe you look after your pet or your plants or do cycling or play music or listen to Quran. Or everybody has his own favorites that he use when he is stressed. So what are really your things that you are passionate about? And keep a balance between what you can change, what you cannot change. If you cannot change things and are unpredictable, you don't need to worry about them. Take some time to be totally alone for you, your wife, your family, your parents, your work, but there has to be at least 30 minutes every day. It's only for you. You sit by yourself. You do what you like. This will help to refresh your immune system. Do breathing exercise, do meditation, yoga, whatever, and do things that you like. This was the last slide. And if you have done everything and you are still stressed, there is no shame in asking for help. You go for a counselor, therapist, psychiatrist, and tell him, I feel stressed, I did that and that and that, and still I'm stressed. Being stressed is something normal. What we are having now, and our responses are normal reactions to abnormal situations. We are passing by abnormal states. So whatever happened to us is normal reaction to this. And this is a famous say by Professor Hans Sulaiman. He is the father of stress study and research in the States. I love this one. The only person without stress is a dead person. Since you are alive, you work, you have family, you study, you're whatever, then you have stress. God bless you all. And I wish you all a stress-free life and a mental health. And if there is any question, I will be more than happy to answer.